Welcome to Seven Figure Chiro, the podcast that is all about taking your chiropractic practice to new financial heights. We're your hosts, Dr. Jeff and Kristin Berard.
And twice a month, we are here to share the insider strategies, tools, and success stories that will help you scale your chiropractic practice to seven figures and beyond.
Whether you're at the start of your journey as an associate or you're ready to take your practice to the next level, we've got expert interviews, strategies, and inspiring stories from chiropractors who have turned their dreams into a reality.
So get ready to take your chiropractic practice to a new level, and let's crush your vision for success.
Well, hello. Welcome to the Seven Figure Chiro Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jeff Berard, along here with Kristin. Hello, Kristin. So, episode 7, we're going to talk a little bit about the patient experience. Seven Figure Chiro, obviously, there's a multifaceted approach to becoming a Seven Figure Chiro. And one of the most important things to think about and really be obsessed about is the patient-client experience. So, let's talk about that. I think we've all been to a location, no matter what it is, whether it's a store, a restaurant, a doctor's office. You walk in and you know right away, oh, wow, this is nice. Or, ooh, this is kind of dingy. You know, that's a first impression is incredibly important. So, chiros listening out there, maybe you're some of them, maybe you've observed what I've observed, but my goodness, are there some dingy places out there? I mean, you know, we're in 2025. You go into some chiropractic offices today, they still have the same damn furniture that they've had since 1982, right? Clinic has been sold 3 times and they haven't upgraded the furniture, for God's sake. So these are some really basic details that you must pay attention to. So, you know, it starts with when someone walks in the door, right? It starts with the front desk, first contact, whether it's via phone or the front desk. You know, that initial impression is so incredibly important. So, you know, what's that look like for you? You know, have you observed that? Have you really paid attention to what the front desk looks like? Have you paid attention to what your office CA, your front desk person is saying on the phone, what they're saying to the patients? How obsequious are they? Are they really, really nice and accommodating and just very, very overflowing with accommodating the patient? Super important. The front desk needs to be on point, right? They have to know exactly what they're doing, when they're doing it, and why they're doing it. If there's a front desk person up there fumbling and there's a patient that's unsure whether they're in the right place, and I mean, that's just going to confirm to the patient that this clinic doesn't know what the hell they're doing. So you have to have your ducks in a row at the front desk. And it's not the front desk person's job to figure it out. It's you, the clinic owner, to give them a process to follow and policies to follow, which we've talked about in the prior episodes of SOPs. So be on point at that front desk. They are representing your company. How do you want your company represented when people come to the front door? If the president of the United States or your favorite artist or someone's come in, how are you going to treat them? Everybody should be treated the same way. So exude extreme organization at the front desk. Be prepared. Make sure patients are prepared for their appointment. Greet patients by their name. One of my biggest pet peeves in my office is if my front desk, if someone comes in the door and they say, "Hi, what's your name?" That's laziness. All you need to do is look at the schedule and see who's scheduled at that time, and you can deduct from your schedule who the patient is. Instead of saying, "Hi, what's your name?" You know, about, "Hi, Kristin, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming in today. How's your day going?" I mean, there's a big difference between, "Hi, what's your name?" So again, these are details, but they're details that make a big difference, right? That front desk, that first impression is the front door of your business. How do you want your front door to look? Just keep that in mind. Again, paying attention to detail. Several years ago, 24 years ago, I had a consultant come in my office. And the first thing he did, he just sat in my waiting room and just observed for like half an hour. He asked for, new patient information, exactly how we give our new patients. And I gave it all to him. And he sat there. And then afterwards, he sat down with me and gave me a report about my office. And first thing he said to me was, your receptionist, she was a mess. Like, her hair was all over the place. She wasn't really focused on what she was doing. She handed me this plastic clipboard that had a chip on it and a pen that had a pen cap that was chewed on. That's not a seven-figure chiro type of practice, right? So again, the details, now we try to give them a nice heavy pen, a leather binder that holds the paperwork in it if they're not doing it online. Those details make a difference. So again, pay attention to the details. When was the last time you sat in your waiting room and just observed? Or when's the last time you went into the public bathroom in your office that all your patients use? Not the one you use, but the one that your patients use. When's the last time you just really, went in there and looked around and looked at the details? And is it gross, or is it a bathroom that you'd expect to see in $1 million practice? Those are the types of observations that you need to make. Is there paint on the carpet? Are the reading materials ripped and shredded up and tattered? Is it time to update what that looks like? There's a saying that the CEO said that always resonates with me, and it's dress for the job you want, not the one you have. So, if you want $1 million practice, make it look like one, even if maybe you don't have one right now. Everyone has the ability to do that. You don't need $1 million to look like $1 million. So, go out of your way to have your practice resemble what you want if you don't have that yet. Be obsessed with your client experience, dress to impress. That is super important. When people come in, they expect excellence, and you need to give them that. Some other details are, when you walk into someone's door, you see clutter, right? Like a bunch of jackets hanging or hats or whatever it is, get rid of all that stuff. Just have it nice and clean for the clients when they come in. Stuff on the walls. Sometimes these like informational boards or court boards get a little out of control, and just all that stuff needs to be incredibly organized. If your front desk looks like a yard sale, well, it's time to revamp your front desk. When you go into a high-end dentist office or a high-end spa and you go to the front desk, they are just clean. There's nothing on them. It's you and the receptionist and a clean desk. There's no other distractions there. So again, put some detail into that and observe your own clinic. Observe it from the inside, observe it from the outside, go in all the rooms. Lay on your tables, look at the ceiling. Are there leak marks on your ceiling? Do you have stains on your drop ceiling? If you do, replace them. Does your paint on your walls look like crap? Do you have rips in the leather in your tables? Well, change it. Is the headrest where the paper holder holds down the paper, is it all rusty and disgusting? Well, either get a new one or paint it. Just things like that you have to pay attention to because your clients do. So, Kristin, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so I've made a couple notes here, and it's a really good segue in talking about how to make choices that are going to affect your long-term growth. And so the notes that I made are, think about what your salary is and the kind of income that you're having come in on a monthly basis. And let's say you're able to pay your bills, personal bills and bills for the clinic. So if you have an excess in salary and your clinic needs an upgrade, spend that money upgrading your clinic because it's going to pay for itself, in
spades,
multiples down the road. Because if somebody's, again, walking into a clinic and it looks old and gross and it's not updated, you're not going to have that type of clientele or continue to have that type of clientele coming back or, referrals, right? You want people to talk about your clinic outside in the community so that other people are coming in. So spend that money because what's going to happen is it's going to increase your salary down the road even more because you have this great looking clinic. And there's companies out there that can help you redesign your clinic, or you can hire an interior designer, or have somebody that maybe is really good with decorating and upgrades come in and say, hey, if you change these couple things, it doesn't have to be $100,000 to upgrade your clinic. It could be a couple $1,000s in changes. Then you can do it, over a long period of time. But people start to notice those changes and they appreciate them, and it makes them want to come back and also, refer to others. Spending more money on a qualified individual. So talking about the front desk person that you're hiring, right? If you're hiring somebody at minimum wage, chances are you're going to get a minimum wage person. And so do some research. Indeed is a great option to find out what that competitive salary or pay is for that type of job out there. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have that person at the front desk doing a great job if you pay, a salary or include more benefits. And it's going to want people to come back, and that person's going to come to work and they're going to look the part, and it's going to make your clinic look overall much better than if you were to have somebody who isn't put together and doesn't speak proper English and just represents your clinic really well. Also, job title. This is one big thing that I personally think is really important. If Jeff walked around saying, my receptionist does this and, my receptionist does that. Well, in our clinic and typically in a 7-figure chiro practice, your front desk team member is going to do a lot more than just answer phones. And so they need to play the part, and also you need to also give them a job title that goes with what they're doing and what their responsibilities are. So typically, if it's just a smaller clinic, you might have an office manager or a front desk associate or a front desk administrator. So they're administering everything that's going on from the front desk with your patients, with your clinic, those types of things. So give them the job title that they deserve, because a lot of times they're doing a lot up there. Jeff talked about updating the bathrooms. That is really important. Nobody wants to use a gross bathroom, so make sure that it's being cleaned at least twice a week. And somebody from your team is constantly going in those bathrooms and checking to make sure that they're cleaned up, they're organized, the toilet paper is filled, there's soap, all those types of things. And then add a couple extra touches to your bathroom that just make it warm and welcoming. Dress code. So you don't have to wear scrubs necessarily in a clinic setting, but setting a dress code with colors, appropriate attire, whatever that may be, pick colors that represent your clinic and then also are easy to match and kind of go well with other different clothing articles. Try not to pick anything kind of crazy that's really hard to match or really hard to find for your associates. And then you can also give them different options. And it's really nice because there's different bodies out there that fit in different types of clothing, right? So you want to be able to give them different options that maybe they can choose and go along with what your dress code is. And then also it's nice either having a name tag with their name on it and maybe their job title, or having your logo put on their clothing. So in our clinic, you have the option. If your clothing doesn't have the logo on it, you're expected to wear a name tag. So at least somebody knows that you work at that location. And then talking about the waiting room area. So you walk into these locations and they're trying to display all sorts of different messages, right? Maybe there's a payment policy. Maybe there's HIPAA policies. Maybe you have new services or promotions going on. All of these things take up space and kind of look cluttered, like Jeff mentioned. So we recommend putting at least one TV in the site of where your patients will sit, if not two TVs. Like our waiting room is relatively big, so we have two TVs spaced out differently. And you put a slideshow on it or a video, and you can display all those messages. Because typically what happens is those patients are sitting there and they're, looking around because they're bored waiting for them to be called for their appointment. They're going to watch this slideshow or video that you have up there. So make sure it's updated. Make sure that there's good information on it. You can put patient education on there as well. And then try to make it silent if possible, because there's a lot of people that are talking in, with your front desk, and you don't want it to be distracting. So having that slideshow created and updated, maybe on a bi-weekly basis or at least once a month with that information.
Yeah. So, your team members need to look like a team. So like Kristin said, have standard colors and dress name tags, logos on your clothes. That's what organized teams look like in a in a practice. I know there's a lot of chiros out there that, they want their practice to look like a living room and they want it to be, okay, fine. Well, then that's not for you. But, those that have the type of practice where there's different layers, different services, multiple people, you need to look like a team and be obsessed with your client experience and dress to impress. That's going to conclude our episode 7. Please stay tuned and listen to our next episode, which is on the 7-figure chiro exam. Very important. I appreciate you listening. And until next time, keep up the good fight.
Goodbye.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of 7-Figure Chiro.
We hope you're walking away with some valuable insights to apply to your practice.
Remember, building a 7-figure practice doesn't happen overnight, but with the right strategies and mindset, it's absolutely within your reach.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow chiropractors who are on the same path.
And be sure to join us the next episode for more strategies, bring clarity to your vision, and elevate your financial practice to success.
Until then, keep pushing forward and making an impact.